right, everybody, welcome back. We are at MoneyWise Wednesday, week 12. Gosh, 12 weeks into this. This is crazy. I am having a blast with you guys. Really excited about today's topic. We are going to be talking about mindful living, taking good care of ourselves, and how much that, oh wait, I started off wrong. I should have said namaste.
Yes, I've been waiting. You've been like waiting to do that.
Anyways, okay, so Kelly is going to be bringing us today's lesson. We're going to talk about how, health and wellness and all of that affects our finances, and the flip, really, how finances and stress of it can affect our health. So kind of a little different today, but a really exciting, fresh, lesson to bring to you guys. And I think the timing is perfect. Here we are at the beginning of summer, and a lot of us ladies are stressing about our bikini body we never had. That's what I always say. And so this is a good time to really start focusing on kind of that whole self, right? And crawling out of the hole of COVID. Just good timing. So I'm really excited for you to bring it. We kind of all put an inspiring background behind us that we, is our Zen place, or a place that we, really like to go to kind of be healthy for our body. And so Kelly, let's just jump in.
Let's do it. So this was a topic that we weren't really, I personally wasn't really sure how to get started with, or even what it all entailed. So to me, mindful living is about meditation and yoga and being granola, crunchy, all the Mother Earth kind of things. And so I had to really look into it, and I learned a lot from this. I learned, so mindfulness means being aware and controlling your experiences. And that seems so easy, but like we all know now that we don't have much control over things always, as much as we would like to, especially with the COVID and everything going on. So I really want to delve into the mindful living and how stress affects that mindful living lifestyle that we should be having. This is a combination of two of our playlists from MoneyWise, and it's mindful living and healthy financial habits. And we wanted to combine the two together because they fit perfectly together. So let's get started. So feeling stressed out, you're not alone. So stress is in our daily lives. We experience ups and downs. We have many financial struggles, welcoming a new family member, losing out on that dream job, traveling. The stress can be good stress, or it can be bad stress. So all these things that happen in a year, the roller coaster of emotions we experience have a real effect on our body and minds. So let's not let stress get the best of us. First, we're going to talk about how stress impacts your body and mind. So stress is your body's reaction to external threats. So when you're stressed, your body reacts, and stress can cause physical and mental symptoms. Prolonged periods of stress can impact your ability to learn and focus, and may even decrease the number of neurons and cells in your brain. So so physical effects, it can affect your lungs. It quickens your breathing. It can affect your heart. It causes an increase in heart rate, causes an increase in blood pressure, causes your muscles to tighten. I don't know if you've ever sat there and you're stressed out about something and you realize that your whole body is just like shrunk together. It causes frequent headaches, and it can cause your brain to shrink. And then body-wise, as a body as a whole, it can cause immune problems. So what are your stressors? So stressors are anything that triggers physical and mental stress response in a person. The most common reported causes stress can include money and work, but there are many factors that impact stress. So let's talk about that. We have family and relationship issues. Stress can come from all different factors in your personal relationships, whether it's taking care of elderly or dealing with a relationship that's not the healthiest. Money issues. Stress comes from financial issues, debt, unanticipated expenses, living paycheck to paycheck, and working too many hours and having to work more hours to make ends meet. And then health issues, illnesses, diagnosis of a new illness, struggling with managing your personal wellness, including weight. And then work-related issues, stress can come from working too many hours, feeling underappreciated, working in a job where there's little room for air. You know, even now with the COVID situation, stressfulness from working at home. I think all those things fit together with that one, because you're dealing with family at home, you're dealing with other people, you're dealing with trying to work a job where you're not in your workplace. So
Yeah,
what
can I
Go ahead.
add real quick? I think too, I think it's really important that we all, like times like this, everybody has their opinion, right? About what mask or no mask, or start gathering again, not gathering again. And I think what causes some of the stress is that we all might think differently about it, and the stress may come from a different area. So like some people are stressed from working at home, but I have a lot of friends who are stressed about going back to the workplace because they're scared of being exposed to COVID. And so there, that stress level is a concern. So I just kind of want to pause and tell everyone that I think it's important that and I think what you're trying to say here, Kelly, is that we all have our different triggers of what causes stress in our lives. And just like we don't like to put people in boxes regarding some of the financial opinions that we have been teaching about, same thing here. Understanding that we all have a different trigger for some of these different things, and that it's okay if your trigger is different than everybody else, right? It's validated because that causes stress in your life. So I just wanted to throw that in there real quick.
Yeah, I'm glad you threw that in, because that's absolutely true. I mean, where you're more concerned about going into the office for your reasons, I'm super excited about going into the office. So yeah, everybody has their own stressors. Everybody has their own things that they're concerned about. So what we're going to talk today about, though, is we're going to talk about the money issues related to your mindfulness. So if you're stressed out about money, you're not alone. I looked up and found that a study from 2013, and this is from 2013, so this isn't even now with the climate that we're in, but 72% of Americans feel stressed out about money and finances, and 1/3 of those that were interviewed said that money is the main source of their stress. If you've ever been overwhelmed by your financial situation, you're not alone. In fact, nearly half of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That's a lot. Just think about that. And half of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, so struggling to pay their bills or save for their future. So effects of financial stress, and I'm going to read this and then we're going to dive into it a little bit more, but financial stress can lead to increased blood pressure, muscle tension, digestive issues, depression, anxiety, and overall unwell feelings. So I pulled up, and I'm going to read off a little sheet here, but I pulled up some statistics online. And blood pressure, this is another 2013 study that was done by Northwestern University, showed that adults ages 24 to 32 who had high debt also had higher blood pressure. And this is an age group that should be in optimal health. But I mean, the correlation there with the debt versus the higher blood pressure is unbelievable. And then greater muscle tension. I did that before. I am the queen of doing this and hunching over and tightening up. The muscle tension, because you're stressed out, causes more back pain. It causes 44% of people had more migraines that had higher debt problems, compared to 15% of people with migraines without the higher debt. So that's a huge difference. And then worsening digestive symptoms. That kind of seems like this was something that I didn't even think about, but the digestive system is referred to as the center of your health. So when you're stressed out and when the center of your system is all messed up, it causes digestive problems. So 27% of those people with high debt stress reported having ulcers and digestive tract problems. And then I think the biggest part, and it's not on here, is people avoiding going to the doctor when they have these issues. They avoid going to the doctor because A, they don't want to hear what the doctor has to say, but B, they can't afford to go to the doctor. If you're in a situation where you don't have insurance and you don't have the things that you need, you don't want to spend that extra money. If you're already in debt and you're already hurting, you don't want to spend that money to go to the doctor because you don't have it. And then the last thing was just the depression and anxiety. When people are under a lot of financial stress, they get depressed. I mean, I don't know about you, but when you're stressed out about things, it's very hard to stay positive because you don't see a way out. Same thing with anxiety. You get very anxious about it. You may tend to, when you're anxious about things, you may tend to eat more poorly. You don't take care of yourself. You may not go for a walk. You may just want to lay on the couch and watch TV because you're so stressed out about things. So let's talk about adopting some important habits to kind of get us out of that. So these are the 8 healthy financial habits we've created. And a lot of them are things that we've talked about before, that Herschel and Kelly and I have, over in the past few weeks, we've talked about these in regards to just your financial budget, but they all play a role in your health as well. So live within your means. Kelly, what does that mean?
Living within your means simply just means maybe not splurging and not getting things outside of what you really need versus, splurging on the things that you want. Identifying the difference between the wants and the needs and staying within that, setting some non-negotiables to, not exceed.
Right. And spending wisely. So when we spend wisely, it means the same thing that Kelly just said. When you spend wisely, you spend the money on the things that you need and maybe not spend on the things that you don't need. If you're in a tight situation, you might want to hold off on going on a trip or going to the movies or the little things. It tends to be the fun things that you kind of have to cut back on. It's not the necessities. But if you spend wisely, you'll find that once you can pay your bills, it tends to remove some of that stress from you. So you might not be able to go on the trip or do the things that you want to do, but you will. You will. It's a goal. Free up funds to cover expenses. So this is simply, if you're paying extra for the fancy cable, or if you have things that you're spending money on that you don't necessarily need, like if you write it all down and you look at it, if you've done the budget with us over the last couple of weeks and you see that, well, this is an extra and this is an extra, if you free up some of the funds from the extras and you can actually cover your expenses, you can kind of start to see a light at the end of the tunnel. And then avoiding too much debt. Herschel, can you help us out with what this means?
Yes, absolutely. It's taking on more debt than your income could justify. It could be, an additional car that's not needed in the family. It just sits there, right? Or going out and retrieving an additional service such as pool maintenance, right? While we all enjoy jumping and diving and playing in the pool itself has to be maintained for functionality. It has to be clean for purity to prevent health issues later down the road, right? But those are additional expenses that you can avoid. For instance, and I'll give you a quick example. My son, who recently graduated, he's going to need additional things in life to prepare him for his adult journey. However, he's going to be at the home for just a short period of time. So rather than me paying my pool expense and my pool maintenance, my son's going to take over that chore. So now that I can use those funds to park away for those emergency needs that he may have. Lawn maintenance, for instance. I get tired, right? We all get tired. We want to enjoy our Friday, Saturday, and Sunday without having to worry about some of the things around the home that needs to be upkept, right? My son is now going to also adopt that as well to give me the opportunity to rest, but also to not have to spend that additional expense to have someone come and cut it in my absence or in my tiredness, if you should say. So avoid too much debt or additional debt by looking at your priorities. Thank you for allowing me to share that.
That's awesome. Thank you. And then managing existing debt. So part of that is what Herschel just said, managing your existing debt. He figured out a way to get rid of some of his debt to work on some expenses that he's going to have in the future. Another way to do that is to look at some of your bills and see where you can cut back. There's things that you don't have to have. Maybe you do have to have lawn service, but maybe you don't. Maybe you can get out there and mow your lawn. Maybe you can cut back on the cable. You don't need 300 channels because you really only watch Netflix. Maybe that's something that you want to cut out. little things like that. Look at your insurance policies. Look at all your stuff. Look to see where you can cut back when you can. And then, and when you're shopping, look at the sale stuff that's on sale at the grocery store. Look on, shop around a little bit and try to come up with some ways to cut back on expenses. And that way you have the money to spend on the things that you need to spend on. You have to pay your rent or your mortgage, and you have to pay your car payments, and the things that you have to have. And then saving for retirement. And we talk about this, I think, almost in every one that we do. But saving for retirement is such an important thing to do, because you can sit there and say, well, that's so far off. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not so far off. Life goes by just like that, and the worst thing that you can do is to put off and put off and put off because it doesn't seem important. But what happens when you're 75 and you're stressed out because you can't pay your bills at 75? You can't go pick up a second job and things like that. You're there. So plan for your retirement, make that a priority. And then most importantly, if you don't know how to do it and how to deal with all this, ask for help. We have Herschel. He's a certified financial consultant. There's other people. Go ask for help. Talk to people. Go to your credit union. Go to your bank, and make that step to get financially sound. It seems like such a little thing, but it makes such a huge difference over your lifestyle and over your well-being. I know me personally, when I have been stressed out over money in the past, you just get run down. And I can remember going to the credit union way back before I was a member. Way back before I was working for the credit union, and we had car loans that the interest rates were really high because we got them at a dealership. And I can just remember going in and meeting with our MSR and her refinancing both our loans, and our payments dropped hundreds of dollars. And just the relief when we left there was amazing. It's just take that step and ask for help. So let's talk about how to practice mindful living. So taking the first step to financial wellness is often the first step to mindful living. It's important to remember that it is not going to fix itself overnight, but you're on your way. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, think about the positive steps you're taking. Look forward and not back. It's so easy to think about all the things that we did wrong, but let's think about the things that we're doing right now. If you're stressed out, go for a walk, practice yoga, exercise, do something positive for yourself. Herschel's got an amazing gym behind him, and Kelly's got a yoga studio. Find something that you like to do. Doesn't cost a lot of money. Going for a walk is free. Eat healthy, get some rest. Adults should sleep 7 hours, at least 7 hours a night. I can't remember the last time I slept 7 hours. I don't know about you guys, and then breathe deeply. Deep breathing allows more oxygen to flow to your brain, and it can lower your stress. It can lower blood pressure, and it can increase short-term memory. And even I can breathe deep. Just do it. And so then the next steps, know your stressors. It may not be finances, but know what it is and take the time to reflect on what stressors are in your life and what's the best way to deal with them. And then set goals to work with that. Set long-term, short-term, and micro goals to live mindfully. Make an action plan that fits your lifestyle and stick with it. It may be just little things. I know I like to chop it up and have little goals. And so I hit that little goal and then I go to the next and the next and the next. And then keep your perspective. Keep a positive outlook on stress and how to handle it. Be strategic. Continue to evaluate what coping methods work best for you, because what works for me doesn't work for Kelly and it doesn't work for Herschel. You have to find your own thing. And then seek support. We said this in a couple slides ago. Make sure that you're reaching out to somebody to ask for help. There's doctors, your counselors, employers a lot of times have the wellness assistance program, your financial institution. I keep going back to that, but that's what we're here for. We're here to help if it's a financial matter. So I know we've just thrown a lot of information out there for mindful living, but it is so important. Take the time, find out what your stressors are. If it's financial, kind of follow along with what we've been teaching over the last couple weeks. And Kelly and Herschel, do you have anything to add to that?
I'll be happy to really quick. I know we're wrapping up. make sure you're taking care of your social circle as well as your circle of influence. And I'll share just a really quick story, Kelly, if you don't mind. Several weeks ago, Kelly Walter, she works incredibly hard to ensure that these MoneyWise Wednesday sessions are impactful, they're relevant, and they're as professional as such. Kelly, IE, and myself also work in the same department, and we work just as hard as Kelly, but we identify that being a leader for the organization as well as being a partner of ours, that there was a sense of stress. Kelly and I took the opportunity to send a stress alleviator to Kelly without her even knowing, right? It's just a simple thank you for sharing how hard you work, what you do, and that we identify that you are covered in stress at times, and what we can do to alleviate that, we will. So I repeat by saying, take care of your social circle and your circle of influence, because without you being healthy, you can't be good to them. And without them being healthy, they cannot be good to you. So take care of the ones that mean the most to you. That's the only parting words I can have at this time for our viewers and our members. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, and you know, that was such a sweet surprise. And I did have a stressful day that day. I remember you guys totally picked up on that and surprised me later in the day. And I'll apologize. My neighbor's having some yard work done, so there may be a bit of background noise. But anyway, so thank you guys for recognizing that. And it was a little gift basket that you guys, but it is nice when you're tuning into other people, because right now we're in such a me, you know, world where it's like, what's going to make me happy and how can I take care of myself? And some of you guys, Kelly, I think more than any of us, the other two of us here, Kelly is a giver, like a servant, and she likes to do for, and you know, and so like Herschel, earlier we talked about, you know, in our kids session, we talked about how do we identify our strengths and our challenges, right? And one of the things Herschel mentions, a challenge he has is never being able to say no. But that's also part of, he wants to be helpful and he wants to give to other people. But sometimes that can also be the thing that stresses us out, is because we're trying to fix everybody else and make everybody else happy, that we kind of neglect ourselves. So
absolutely,
that we all have, you know, but they can also be our, you know, one of the things that can kind of set us back from a healthy standpoint too. So, anyways, yeah, that's a good point, Herschel, that you bring up. It's like, how do you just stop and slow down a little bit and think about, like, okay, well, I love everybody and I need them to know that, but right now I need to take care of me. Or the other way around, I've been focusing on me so much that I've neglected to pay attention to the people around me. It's like, how do I
absolutely
balance between those things, right? So, yeah, thank you, Kelly, for bringing that to us today and reminding us, you know, kind of just to be still for a little bit and kind of really think on a lot of those points that you brought up. Really good stuff.
Thank you.
Be still. I love that. Be still. That's a good way to end this one. Be still for a little bit. You're always powerful with some of the last words and personal touches. Yes, be still for a little bit.
Just be still. Just be still. Some of us are like ready to just run out the door because we've been still for so long and cooped up inside the house, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, it's how our next steps. It's how we kind of focus on what's next and how do I transition from all this weird world we're living in right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Kelly, for bringing it to us. Great stuff. Any final words, Kelly, that you have that you want to share with everyone? No?
No, I think we said it all. We've kind of, you know, thank you guys. And, you know, and I appreciate our little circle because we do help each other out and it helps us de-stress. And, you know, like Herschel and you both said, when we're having a tough day, we have each other to lean on, and that alleviates our stress a little bit. And hopefully you have that in your group, or can be that person to other people.
Yeah. We like to laugh a lot.
We do.
That's for sure. You guys have no idea. You guys see the edited, cut out version of who we all are. We have a lot of funny outtakes from some of our sessions for sure. But you
that will never be seen.
That's right. You gotta laugh. Life is too short, and
absolutely,
there's too much other negativity and ugly things going on in the world. We gotta. I spend more time with you guys than I do my own family.
Agreed.
That's scary.
I mean, we gotta have some fun together, right? And so, all right. Well, thank you, Kelly, for bringing that to us today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you guys next week. Not sure what our topic's gonna be yet, but we're looking forward to bringing you something maybe new and fresh. We've got some exciting things coming on the pike for the future of our MoneyWise Wednesdays and kind of what things are going to look like now that our branches have reopened and we're going back to normal. So I can't wait to share with you guys what we're working on. So thanks again for joining us. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks, Kelly, for leading. See you guys later.
Bye.